they put somebody like Justin Bieber on camera and they're like, so, you've achieved massive success. Can you teach us, give the kids out there advice on how to do it? And he's like, I don't know, man, just follow your passion, do what you want to do. Hello guys, and welcome back to another quick episode. This is just a quick tip. My tip is never take success advice from talented people because it's so hard to replicate. So we see this all the time in the sporting world. We see somebody who was great at sports as a player, they become a manager and everybody assumes that they're going to be a good manager. And usually it never works out correct because their talent isn't able to be replicated. So you get somebody like Cristiano Ronaldo. How are you going to replicate his talent? Just because he's a manager, how is he going to be able to teach these players to be as good as him? It was natural God-given talent, right? So it's very hard to do. It's very hard to coach that into people. It's very hard to teach them how to do it. Usually the best managers or usually the best people who are like success gurus and stuff like that who want to teach you stuff or educate you, the ones that you should pay attention to are the ones with the least talent, the ones that don't have anything in particular, the ones who don't have anything in particular, like an unbelievable body or an unbelievable beautiful face or a world-class voice or something. You get a singer, like they put somebody like Justin Bieber on camera and they're like, so, you've achieved massive success. Can you teach us, give the kids out there advice on how to do it? And he's like, I don't know, man, just follow your passion, do what you want to do. And it's like that's just horrendous advice, because a lot of people, put it this way, a lot of people don't know how they became successful. They didn't strategize. They were just very fucking good at something, or they had something they didn't realize they had. You get this a lot on, something like YouTube. A lot of these YouTubers now, they don't know how they became successful. They just started making content and they became successful. They never strategized like a sales funnel. They never did something with purpose. They never made these videos with that in mind, to go to the next stage. So when they get millions of followers, they're like, I don't know, another so-and-so video, and they just roll some bag of shit out and it doesn't really work. And then they try and give you success advice. And it's like, this is the blind leading the blind because you guys don't know. I don't believe that Jake Paul could give good success advice. I don't really see that. I just think, what would you say? I'll just kind of do what your brother's doing. I don't really know how that works. Or just kind of be as silly as fuck on camera and just see where it leads you. And then when you've got followers, go and do some boxing. Like, I don't really see now the inherent traits of like consistency and whatever he might be able to give you, but I just don't think that, something like Floyd Mayweather, he could give a few tips on consistency and strategizing and whatever, but it's like you're never going to have his speed. He just had this God-given speed where he was able to light anybody up from any range. And he also had a dad who was a boxer and an uncle who was a boxer. It's like there's certain things there that you cannot replicate. The person you want to take success advice off is somebody who doesn't have like one unbelievable talent, or somebody who doesn't have an unbelievable voice, or somebody who's in MMA like a George St. Pierre, and it's like, how do I become as good as you? Well, he's got the strength of a gorilla. Like, you might not have that. You want to find the person that was destined to underachieve and overachieved. Somebody that didn't have amazing punching power, somebody who had zero speed, somebody who wasn't as good as the others technically, but they worked on themselves relentlessly, like a Michael Bisping, in UFC. If you took success advice off Michael Bisping, you're going a long way in life. In a business sense, if you said, I take my success advice off, what's his name, Bill Gates, that's probably not going to work. He had rich parents. They were already established. They gave him a better life than 90% of people are ever going to have. And there's so many stories like that where people actually had a leg up, like taking success advice off Donald Trump. I'm not 100% sure that's the best way to go. Now, the level he's at now, he's going to give some good tips. But in the early days, his dad was already successful and his dad gave him a loan, a small loan of $1 million. We all remember that, right? That's not small loan. Like, let's be fucking honest. It's small to him now, but it's not small to the average person. Like, it's insane to say that. Taking success advice off Kylie Jenner, stupidest thing in the world. You know, the success advice you got to take is the person that had the least talent, the least possible opportunity to make it, had no esoteric outstanding qualities, didn't have rich parents, didn't like flat across the board, and they strategized. They figured out a way to do it. They just understood business. They just made a way up. They just made a perfect route. Like, you couldn't look and go, that's why they were successful. That's why. It's like, oh, it's a culmination of everything that they did over the period of 10, 15 years. That's who you should be taking success advice off. So be careful, guys, because you will see interviews with somebody like Brad Pitt, and they'll be like, what's the secret to success? He doesn't know. He doesn't know. Be ridiculously handsome with great abs. Is that the secret? You know, that's the one industry. That's acting. You know, it could be modeling. Like, be careful. Like, find somebody who's in a generic industry. Like I said, they had nothing. They started from the bottom, had nothing that stood out as being why they did it. And then also they were in an industry like marketing. You know, they were in an industry like... They were in an industry along the lines of, I don't know, maybe even the movie business, and they found a way to strategize their way up. Like real businesses where you actually have to come up with ideas and tactics and, you know, a sales funnel and a ploy to go from here to there to that point to that point. It's not like the music industry where you just turn up and you have the voice. You know, and these artists now, they're like, I had to find my image. You dyed your hair green and became a goth. What are you talking about? Like, that's not an image. That's just... it's what everybody fucking does, right? That's not real business. It's the same with YouTubers. Oh, I just started playing games and I found my niche. It's like, there's not a niche. It's massive. Like, there's so many people watching gaming videos. That's not your thing. You need to find somebody that has gone down like a generic route, that was quite a generic person, because then you know there was no major advantage. There was no like one thing that they did which just was a silver bullet approach, like being super hot, or some of these girls that have got a fat ass. It's like, that's why you're successful. Don't drop success quotes on Instagram. You have a fat ass and giant tits and a thin waist. Like, there's nothing you can teach me which can help me, because you don't know yourself. You've just been given this leg up. So be careful, guys. You know, anybody you take success advice off, just make sure you look at them and go, yeah, they're just like me. Like, there's no difference. Like, don't be bewildered by the lights and the glamour and be like, well, this person's made it, they must know more than me. There's a lot of successful people out there that have no idea how they became successful, and put into a different body, they wouldn't be able to do it again.